Hello, we're your foreign sisters. I'm Ligii.
And I'm Kitty. And today we're planning to talk about habits and just exploring the topic in our lives. What do we do with them, if we do any? And yeah.
Yeah, and why this topic today is because we are planning to do um, like accountability group for habits in June. So if anybody wants to join, send us a DM, and we're just gonna keep each other accountable.
Yes. Yes, it's pretty good. It's very interesting. It's a virtual group, but we can keep each other accountable by checking in and everything. So yeah. And me and Liggy have done a couple together. Well, yeah. She's participated in a couple.
Yes, yes.
Me myself as
I
well.
find them very helpful. Yeah, it's just, and it's just nice to have like this bond with a few others, and like it lasts for like what 3 weeks, and after 3 weeks I usually feel a bit empty because I'm like, I don't check in with people daily anymore, But yeah, it's good fun, and I think everybody should join.
Yes, me too. Okay, well, I have a few questions written down. We can go through them. And if anything else pops up, as always, we're just gonna go with it. Okay, so my first question is, have we got any habits at the moment? And if so, what kind of habits are they? Like, are they good, bad, anything? Do you want to start, like?
I don't really think I have any habits. I was trying to build some in April, but that kind of failed for me. And I don't want to say failed because it sounds very dramatic. But yeah, I did not succeed in doing the things that I wanted to do because I wanted to run like at least 3 times a week, and health issues happened, or like just life happened and I couldn't. And but I still feel like I had a good April of running because I tried in the beginning, and then on the days when I couldn't, I had to tell myself, hey, don't stress yourself over it, it's just running, it's not the end of the world. So I tried to be very gentle with myself and give myself some grace where I could. And I also wanted to work on eating. I think eating is my worst habit, like the lack of having a habit when it comes to eating. I think that is my biggest downfall in life at the moment. But that also sounds very dramatic. Like it's not that big of a deal. At least at the moment, I don't feel like I'm struggling with any of my eating disorders, but I also know that they can creep up very quickly. So at the moment, I feel like there's nothing really to report for me.
Well, it's like, but as you mentioned, the lack of habit is still kind of a habit, right?
Yes.
Yes, as for me, I have actually some good habits in my life. Usually they are in the morning or in the evening. And currently, I probably have mentioned this before, I am doing yoga every morning. I would say probably out of like the whole month, there were probably 4 or 5 days maybe that I didn't have my yoga in the morning. Sometimes I would do it maybe in the evening, or just not do it that particular day at all. But overall, I would say that really has developed into like a habit for me. And I've got a Shakti mat, which is this pressure mat. I got it in February, so since February, I also want to say the whole month when I got it, I definitely did it every day. I was laying on my back on it. After that, I would still do it every day, but it was kind of a bit of a mixture that I would miss a couple of days. Okay. Where was I? The Shakti mat as a really decent habit for me. Probably drinking a glass of water. Warm water is also a thing that I do usually every morning before eating. So like I would say my morning routine is pretty set. The rest of the day and the evening part is a bit different. There was a time there were some habits happening and pretty consistent, but then I kind of dropped them. And then I started to go to bed late again and scrolling on my phone. I think my worst habit at the moment is the phone scrolling and how much time I spend on the phone throughout the day. That's my downfall at the moment. Yes. What, do I have any other bad ones? Well, I think the phone is really like over consuming probably for me at the moment. Yeah. Why these habits? You said you don't have any habits.
Yeah.
You said you don't have any habits, but yeah, we can dive deeper into analyzing our bad habits if you want.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I've never had a healthy relationship with food, so I always like struggle, and I don't know if it would actually be helpful for me to have a habit of like having. Well, I just think it's like healthy to have 3 meals a day personally, and I know that's not what I'm doing. So I just feel, guilty. But then I know that I shouldn't be feeling guilty because that's when like bad things happen to me, and like disorders creep up on me. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just something I really, really struggle with. But I find it like sometimes helpful to be with people while I'm doing it. So while I was with you and Law away, to see you girls, I found it very nice and helpful because you both have like healthy eating habits and you like eat meals. And honestly, like when I came back and my work mum, she was like, oh, so how you been eating? And I went, well, I was with girls, so yeah, we ate a lot. And then I had to be like, well, we didn't eat a lot, we just ate normal amounts, like at regular times. And that's just something that I'm not used to, because most mornings I skip breakfast, and then I skip lunch, and then I might only have dinner if I'm hungry that day. So to me, it just like was like, wow, this is not what I'm used to, and this is healthy, and this is something I would maybe like. And I know that the things would probably improve if I was to move in with somebody, but since I'm living alone, it's just something I know that needs work on. But I'm also not that particularly upset about it. Like, I'm trying to, as I said, give myself some grace and some freedom and, some love, because I know that that's one of my bad habits, or the lack thereof. And yeah, and about running, I don't know. I just love running, but it's obviously hard. It's just hard because I'm very particular about running. Like, I hate running when there's huge crowds of people, which now in summertime means I can't go running in the evenings unless it's like 10 p.m. but it's my bedtime because I start work at 7. So I find it easier to go in the mornings, but in the mornings you have to wake up early. And that means you have to go to bed on time, and obviously that always doesn't happen. And you mentioned that you doom scroll sometimes, and I do too. I feel like everybody nowadays obviously does. And what I have found useful is to swap it to something else, to like replace the scrolling with just reading a book. And that's why I have a Kindle on my phone. And when I feel like, oh, I'm not ready for bed yet, but I want to scroll, I go, no, I'm not going to be scrolling. I'm going to be opening my book and reading a chapter. And so far, it actually makes me feel more productive, although technically I'm doing the same. It's just different information, and information that I actually kind of keep, not just like scroll aimlessly for hours.
Okay. It is a good tip, to be fair, to change it. I do have a book that I need to start reading. I don't know, there's something about starting a new book that's difficult. I was pretty good with reading actually for I don't know, in October, November, December, January, and then it kind of stopped. But I think it's fine. Like, similar to you, it's like you need to be a bit in a balance. That you do need to just not judge yourself about it, because that just makes things worse. So it is practicing self-love as a habit as well, right? Even if you did want to do some certain things that day, but you really know that you can't, then is it worth pushing yourself? It's a intricate thing to deal with, if I'm honest, because there is I need to be disciplined, I need to keep doing, but then are you harming yourself more because of it, or are you actually doing some good? So it is a tricky one. What did you? Yeah, you were mentioning about the meals. Well, I think for you it's a bit tricky because you say you don't feel hungry at all, right?
Yeah.
But also another thing would be probably like if you made it easier for you to have food accessible almost whenever, maybe it would be a bit easier, but that would mean you need to cook ahead or something just so you know that you have. Because I know personally, yeah, if I was alone, I would be probably in a very similar situation. But for me, it's like I do get hungry. But then I would, instead of like preparing a proper meal, I would just kind of, I don't know, gather some random bits and bobs and eat those, and it's a weird combination at the end. But yeah, I know that the people do mention like if something is harder to do, yeah, maybe there are some steps you can help yourself with making it easier.
See, I find it easier when I have my obsession meals, how I like to call them. And I don't know if it's everybody is the same or is it because I actually do have ADHD. But there are like certain periods in my life where I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm obsessed with tomatoes. And I'm gonna want to have tomatoes because it's gonna be like a craving, like a need. And then I'll be like, okay, I'm eating. I'm having 3 meals a day, and all of them are tomatoes, you know. And that lasts about 2 weeks. And I was really happy about that because it actually made me make food for myself. And sometimes, okay, I was eating basically only tomatoes, and I have to be careful about what kind of foods it is. But you know, I had like tomato sandwiches or like tomato on this and tomato on that, or like salads, and like I found it very fun and lovely. And until I don't like tomatoes anymore at the moment. Like I don't mind them. It's just I'm not obsessed with them anymore. So now I'm like, okay, I have to like kind of wait for my next obsession meal. So, but I don't know when it's gonna happen and if it's gonna happen. So it's just very weird how my like brain feels and thinks sometimes. Because yeah, at the moment I'm just like, I don't really fancy anything. But yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, you need to find your cravings and play on those,
Yes.
I guess. Yeah. But then, yeah, I don't think I would be able to do it. I love tomatoes as well. I think that's one of my favorite vegetables or fruits. If you want to be, I guess, biologically correct. But yeah, I do have this fear for myself sometimes. I don't want to overeat things and get sick of them. Like, I don't want to get to that point that I don't like tomatoes.
I don't think
that's my
sick
fear.
of them. It's just like, because I have some and I'm like, yeah, I could eat them. I just don't crave them like I did before. Because before, I don't know, I can't describe it. It's like a need for them. And I've had the same with like corn. And I had the same when I first tried tuna. I just wanted to have it every single day. And then I heard that apparently that's not very healthy because tuna's high in mercury. So I had to be like, whoa, I need to do research next time before, I dive into something like that. But yeah, so it's just like, it just happens to me. Like, I just try something and I go, oh my God, this like satisfies like this, I don't know, this like craving, this need in me. And at the moment I just don't feel that for anything. Like, I could go to the shop, even I still haven't eaten. It's like 1:30 at the moment. And I know if I would go into the shop, I wouldn't want anything. Like, I wouldn't even put things in my basket because I'd be like, oh yeah, I could have this and make this for dinner, but it's not like I want it in a way, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I can,
it does make sense.
It's a bit weird.
It's weird because it takes like it takes over your life for a longer time than maybe the average person. Because I've been in the situations where you're like you're hungry, you want to eat, but you go in a shop and everything just seems like that. Not even that it's disgusting, but it's like, I don't know. It's a tricky one. Yeah, but I guess it's something to look into. It's either like the timings. Well, accountability could help. Accountability group could help you to kind of make a bit more research to find ways how to trick yourself. Well, like, do you need to trick yourself as well? That's also a question, right? Maybe it is just that one meal, but then you make it a proper meal or something. And about running, you were mentioning, I think the running part, you said you want to run 3 times a week, right? I think the trickiest part about these habits is if it isn't every day, it's even somehow it's even harder to maintain.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but even if it was every day, like for example running, I wouldn't want to run every day. I don't think my body would be good to do that. Like I don't think I would be able to do it. It would be just too much for me. So yeah, it's a tricky one. I would say it is a tricky one. What did help me also in April, we both were running in April. I started this Nike Run Club 4-week beginner program, and they had 2 runs a week and then the third one as an option. And I can proudly say I did at least the 2 runs. The third ones were, well, it was an optional, so I wasn't really pushing myself to do it. But if I did it, it was good. If I didn't, I didn't. What was weird about the optional ones was that they were like 7-10 minute long ones, and it's like, for me it felt like, well, what's the point? What's the point of running for 7-10 minutes? But interestingly enough, yesterday I did go for a walk, and I just felt, I wasn't prepared to go running, but I felt like, you know what, I could do like a little jog. And I did like this 12-minute jog thing. It was partly like walking, but like a bit running. So it did feel good. It did feel good. So it's not that it's not giving you any benefit, it's just, yeah, because you just need to do it.
Yeah, I find that it really helps my head, because I don't even know, because it's not like I'm thinking about running, it's just happening. And like when I find it hard, I like talk to myself and I go, you can do this, you can do it. But I also try not to be like too pushy about it, because I know like I shouldn't be joking and like, you know, over push myself. But I think not. So one Sunday in April, I think it was after my trip to Cambridge and to see you.
When you run 10 kilometers?
But that is because, well, I also joined the Nike Run Club, the app. I don't use any of the guided runs because I was like, I don't really need help with that. I just want somebody in my ears to be like, this is your pace, this is how much you've run. And I found it very, very helpful, because to me, the biggest thing I struggle with is pace. And since starting this app, because it tells me what my pace is, I basically run the same pace, which I think like that is the biggest, you know, like that was one of my goals.
Success, yeah.
So I'm very happy about that. And then it also has like challenges, and some of the challenges I'm like, okay, that is too far out of reach for me, like run 100 kilometers in a month. I'm like, that's not me at the moment. And in the first 2 weeks of April, I was like, okay, I could manage 15 kilometers a week, because I was trying to run like 5 a day, and then I realized 5 a day, well, not 5 a day, if I run 3 times, 5 once, right? But then I realized, oh, that some days is a bit too much, because I work full time, I'm still doing uni, you know, I'm trying to have a social life, I have chores to do. So I was like, this is a bit too much, so I tried not to force myself. And one of the things that I noticed in the app was that they had like the Shanghai running challenge, I think that weekend, to do the 10K. And in my head, I had already told myself, oh, I'm going to try to do it. And then I completely forgot about it. I hadn't been running for almost 2 weeks. And then on that Sunday, I was like, I feel like running. I feel like myself again. And it was nice weather outside. And I somehow woke up at 3:30 that morning. And then at 4, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go running. And then I got ready. And by that I mean I just put my clothes on, brushed my teeth, washed my face, and put my music on, and I was like, okay, I'm ready. And I just went for a run, and I didn't even want to really like run 10K. Like it was at the back of my head, but I was like, I'm just gonna see what happens. And I ran the first 5. Like I just ran through the city, and then when it told me that I've run 5, I was like, okay, I turned around and I was like, now I have to run back home. And I did that, and I felt amazing, and I had never done it in my life before. And yeah, I just like felt very, very proud of myself that I even posted it on social media, because I was like, I'm a runner now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just felt amazing. And you know, and technically I run for like what, an hour and 10 minutes or something. So then looking back at it, I was like, oh my god, that's such a long time to just run. But I just found it very like relaxing, obviously not on my body, because I was in pain for like days after, but it was very relaxing for my like brain and like my mind. And that is why I like going running. And I don't know, it just like set me up for like a I was in a better mood that day, and I was like, oh, I can do anything. And then now it's even get like in my head, I'm like, oh, I could probably run a half marathon. I couldn't. I probably couldn't. Like, I probably need to like actually train for it, because I don't train, you know. But yeah, I feel like I just proved to myself that, you know, I can do something. And yeah, and I hope I run a bit more in May. Well, not a bit more, maybe like just more consistent. I think that is what I'm trying to aim at.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, no, that was good. I mean, when I saw that, I was like, wow, you smashed it. I wouldn't even dream of running for 10K. But that day, I also went for a run because I was inspired. But also but at the same time, I wasn't feeling like running. I just wanted to finish. Oh yeah, I had this like, I wanted to have the second run of the week.
Yeah.
And it was already a Sunday, so I was like, oh, I really need to do it. But I was not feeling like running. I was like, I'm just gonna run slow, like very slow, because I was very tired. And I just didn't think I would run. I was like, I'm just gonna run this amount of time that I have to, and that's it. And not push myself, not with the speed or anything. I was just, yeah. I do run the guided ones. I like, because the first one that I ran with them, it was amazing. It was so positive. I was like, this is so cool that someone in your ear is telling you, just kind of motivates you a bit. And I don't know, it's just so positive. So I like the guided ones. But yeah, but this one, so it was Sunday, and it was like a 42-minute run I had to do. And from the beginning, I was like, I'm just gonna be like a little snail. It's not gonna be a fast one. And yeah, and then at some point, I was running, and I had run already 2.5 kilometers, and there was still a bit less than half of the time left, and I wasn't even rushing. That was the whole idea. I was like, oh wow, I wasn't even like pushing myself too much. And at that moment in the run, I was like, you know what, maybe I can make it to 5K in this amount of time. So after that point, I actually tried to run a bit faster just to make it in time to have this 5K. And I also posted on socials and said that yeah, it was an accident. Because it really was. I was not planning to run 5K. I wasn't even sure that I can run 5K. Because when I started running, it was difficult. Like, I think the first long run I had, I ran like 3 kilometers or something. So yeah, it was, I know, I can feel what you're saying. That yeah, you felt so accomplished. And the fact that you could do it, it was really good. Yeah, running is a pretty nice exercise.
Yes.
I wouldn't say I'm not making it into a habit yet, but I just want to see if I can do it. And so far, the 4 weeks have gone, and I do, even in these 4 weeks and just 2 runs a week, I felt like there has been an improvement. So yeah, it's amazing. My next one, well, I was planning to potentially do preparing for a 5K, but it says you need like 3 runs a week, and I feel like it's just a bit too much for me. I think I still want to do just 2 runs. Yeah. So I'm going to do like this other, I think there's another 4-week program. Yeah. And then afterwards I might do the 5K one. Because I know some people are very fast with it.
Yeah, but I think it's not about also the speed that we run at. Like, because I know there's a lot of shame online, at least, going, oh, you're such a slow runner, like, why do you even try? And I'm like, I'm not running to be fast. Like, I'm not trying to get to Olympics. I'm doing this because it makes me feel better, and it, like, you know, I'm moving my body, which is obviously amazing, and it just, you know, it helps my brain, it helps my mind. So to me, it's never been about like speed. I know I could run faster because I've run faster, but when I was running the 10K, in my head I was like, okay, if I'm attempting this, there's no chance of me going fast. So I run like a kilometer in 7 minutes, and I tried to keep that pace. And I know that for some people that is fast, and for some people that's like you know, that's nothing. But to me, I was like, that was what felt comfortable at the time, and I would manage to keep that pace for the whole 10 kilometers. So I'm like just very chuffed about it. And, you know, I don't look at speeds of other people and go, oh, I wish I was like them. Not really. I'm just like, you know, I'm just me.
You're just doing it for yourself.
Yeah. And I don't even like look at marathon runners, and I don't feel like, oh, I'm jealous that they can run it. Because I know, like, if I really, really wanted to, I can get there. Like it's gonna take some time. It might take me years to get there instead of like 3 weeks, how for other people. But like, it's not about. I feel like we should stop comparing ourselves when it comes to things like that, because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be an Olympic runner, am I? It's just
No,
beneficial
no.
for myself.
It's just a form of exercise. It's almost like a meditation of sorts, you could say as well. Just moving your body. I feel like, you know what, we might have to have an episode on running alone, because we're putting in some effort in it, and like eventually, I imagine like 2-3 months we might have some more perspectives, and there's a lot coming out about it, so
yes.
it's actually really
And
exciting.
guys, if you want to join our running club in Nightcap, please let us know, because I find it quite interesting to see like how much we've run, and I was quite a bit ahead of Kitty for like quite a while, because that's because I have,
and I was like, well, I'm not even gonna try to beat
but
you.
I never looked at it as like, oh, this is a competition. It's just like, it motivates us each other. And if I see, oh, Kitty's number jumped up a bit, I would be like, okay, I need to do something too, because I also know I've technically run last summer. Well, not the whole summer, but there was like a month or two where I was like really into it. So I knew that I could do it. It would be easier for me, because I remember last summer in the first month was like awful. I couldn't even run a kilometer. Like, it was so hard. And now I'm like, it's nothing. You know, it just takes practice, and it takes you doing it to know that you can do it. And then it's, you don't have as much self-doubt, but then again, it depends on a day. So I just found it very interesting to see those numbers, you know, change and just move places. So it would be fun to have somebody else join if you guys wanted to.
It would be fun to see. It might be more challenging to kind of keep up. Well, it's not necessarily that you need to keep up, but it's kind of like you see how you react to these things. So it's pretty interesting. Yeah, it's definitely okay. So running episode is gonna be coming at some point, because I do have a whole thing. I used to run back when I was like 15, 16, but it was for the wrong reasons. So, so I'm restarting the whole process with a different mindset. What do I have? The next question I had was, have we always had intentional habits? And I think the answer was no.
I think we have the intention
have you ever had
for habits, but it just never comes true.
But well, to be like right now, the yoga for me and Shakti mat, and sometimes the warm water in the morning, it was like right now it doesn't feel as intentional, but it's actually a habit that I don't really think about. I don't really have to push myself to do it. I just kind of I'll feel the rhythm of the day, and I'm like, okay, this is what I feel like I need to do, so I'm doing it. But it took me a long time to get to this point. It took me like 3-4 accountability groups, and still a year probably of trying to actually keep the discipline to keep doing it, to get to this point, to be like, oh yeah, I can do it. Sometimes I do a shorter yoga video, or like a longer one, like it depends. I'm trying to feel it out as well and feel it on the day, but some days I really just don't want to do it, so I'm not going to do it. But it was like, it is this combination. Whether you're trying to build a discipline, then I guess you need to focus on the discipline part more. But it took a long time. Not a long time, but it took a while for it to be kind of established. So intentional habits. But before that happened, like I started doing the yoga and everything probably 2-3 years ago now. 3 years ago now. That's crazy. Before that, I don't think my only intentional habit was to potentially sleep at least 8 hours a night. But even that was difficult to get to, because I didn't have a specific time where I would go to bed. I would have a specific time where I had to wake up. But yeah, if I wasn't going to sleep early enough, I wouldn't get the 8 hours of sleep. And then the morning I didn't even have time in the morning. The fact that, oh God, this is a whole thing. Back before this whole thing, I didn't even have time in the morning to do yoga. I would wake up 5 minutes before I probably had to leave the house, rush to dress up, grab something to eat maybe on the way or like in the office, and run to the bus. That was my morning routine. So like even just building building your routine in a way that you have time in the morning to do these things is, I feel like, yeah, it took some time, but it was worth the effort, I think. I hope that I'm a better person now because of them, but it's hard to tell. Sometimes I feel like it's actually made me not a worse person, but a less capable person. Because maybe on the days where I haven't slept my 8 hours of sleep and haven't done my yoga, I might be a bit more irritable than other
Yeah, but that
times.
doesn't make you a bad person, I don't think. Because I think it's also like about your theology, is that right? Biology? You know, how your body feels. Because some people get hungry when they are hungry. They get irritated and, you know, I never do. Like, even if I'm like starving, which happens like rarely, but like some days I'm like, ooh, I'm feeling hunger cues today. That's interesting. And yeah, and some days when I'm starving, I'll be like, yeah, I'm just starving. Like, to me, that isn't like that emotional, which I find weird because like sometimes I binge eat when I'm sad. So I'm like, how can my hungriness can't cause hungriness? Is weird to me. But you know, that's more like about how your body is built and like what like makes you tick. So I don't think that makes you a bad person. And at the end of the day, you make habits that work for you to make you feel better. So as long as you feel better, which I think you obviously do, you know, since having time in the mornings, because you don't wake up and you go, oh, I'm rushing. You get to start slow and like, you know, wake up before you jump into the world. Like, as long as it makes you feel better, that's all that matters. Because you're not a bad person, you're not hurting anybody.
No, yes, I'm not. But the fact that if I don't do these things, it feels like I might be more of a, annoyed person now, a more irritable, or more like it's more difficult.
Yeah, but
and it's like a different level of life, I guess.
But it's the same about brushing your teeth.
Because like imagine
like if you don't brush your teeth,
but
you feel a bit like it, you know, the whole day.
Yeah. But I just imagine, you know, those 3 years ago, I was pretty functional even without the habits I had. I was probably not as energetic
Honestly,
and happy, baby, or like calm.
Don't take this the wrong way, but you were annoying in a different way.
Was I? What? For example, tell me more.
I know when I lived with you, right, you would set your alarms and you would never ever wake up from the first one, and then they would go off for like 40-50 minutes sometimes, because you had the intention of waking up and having the breakfast and, you know, getting yourself ready, but you just never did. So that part was annoying, and then you'd be rushing and, you know, there would be chaos and stress, and obviously I feel like that was, to me, living with you, annoying.
Yeah. Oh, so many people complained about my alarms.
But now it's like different, you know. So I don't know. I don't live with you now, but I don't doubt I would find you missing something annoying.
Yeah. I do know, like back then, and even now, I would say sometimes I am a person who gets hangry for sure. Or like, if something like doesn't feel fully okay within myself, I get easily annoyed. It's almost like uncontrollably annoyed, and it sucks because like I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to react that way. Where was I going with this? I think back then I would probably more frequently notice that I get very annoyed or like very riled up, I don't know, like angry quickly, and maybe now it's not as much of the case. Some days, I mean, when I'm hungry. What I wanted to say is the fact when I feel stressed. No, it's not even that. I think if I didn't sleep well enough, I would feel stressed, and the stress makes me very angry person. And I know that it comes out onto other people. Like, yeah. So now I think living like this with the nice habits in the morning, having the time in the morning, slowly waking up is, probably changing that. I do feel, I don't think I've not, like, I think I've always been a relatively calm person. But maybe I am more calmer now. More level-headed. Yeah. No, My next question is, how did we get to the current point in life with our habits? And it's both, like the bad ones, the good ones, and stuff.
I don't know. Well, I think one of the habits that I should probably talk about is smoking.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so what led me to smoking is, I don't know. I don't want to say I was peer pressured, because I definitely wasn't. And so my parents, both of my parents were like smokers in the kitchen, like inside the rooms, and like obviously that was bad. And I remember I always looked at it and I went, I don't even want to try. Like, I will never be a smoker. Like, that was my attitude. And then my younger sister started smoking when she was like 14, and I was like so annoyed by it. And I was like, really? Like, no, like this is disgusting. Like, how could you? Like, and I don't know, it just like, to me, it was like this bad habit. And in my head, I was like, I don't even want to try it, because like it always associated with like the abuse of my childhood, you know, and like health issues. And I was just like, I don't want to. And then I moved to ABBA, and my first boyfriend here, he was kind of like a well, he was a stoner, but he also smoked. And I remember then I was like kind of against it. And in the end, like, we broke up because I was like, I don't like this part of him, like, you know, the smoking part. But then I did try, obviously, smoking, just smoking. And I didn't like it, because I was like, I don't understand why people like tobacco or, you know, the nicotine. I just could, like, it made me feel disgusting. It like made your tongue feel weird, and like your throat, like lungs kind of hurt. And it's just like, why would you do that to yourself? And then that was it. I kind of like stopped thinking about it, stopped trying, because I was like, at least now I know that I really, really do hate it. And then I think not last October, but the October before that, I don't know, I just had this friend, and we went like, oh, let's buy vapes. So we bought a vape, because she was like kind of into smoking, not really. And I was like, yeah, I don't mind like trying it, because like in my head I was like open to like trying things, but I necessarily didn't think it would cause a habit. And it honestly didn't cause a habit, because I didn't like it. Like, I was like, oh, it just feels weird. It feels like I'm just inhaling like this sweet smoke, and I don't really like sweet things personally. Like, I like my drinks to be slightly bitter. I don't like sweet cocktails, and you know, so to me it was just like, oh, I don't really like this. So I remember that tiny little vape lasted me from October till my like birthday in April. So like, I basically, you know, didn't really smoke it like I was, but I wasn't. And then yeah, I think I kind of stopped smoking then. And then some of my friends started like smoking, and then I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna be into that. And I think I tried a few. I learned how to smoke, because you have to do it correctly, because otherwise it doesn't, you know, hit your lungs or whatever, which is so weird. But yeah, and then I was like, yeah, I'm still like not really into that, but I knew how to smoke at that point. And then October came, last October, so the one that just passed. And I had a very, very stressful time at work, and like everything was bad, and it just made me like feel very depressed and anxious, and I just really did not want to be there. And I'm still in that place now. And I knew that I can't really leave, because I like the hours, like the pay isn't like, okay, it's kind of a minimum job, but like wage job, but I can't really find anything better in this town, and I kind of have to stay in this town until I finish my uni degree, until I decide what I want to do with life. So I was like, you know what, this is my life, you know. So I was like, how can I relieve this stress? And I knew that running at the time wasn't an option, because I was having a lot of knee pains, and you know, it was just not an option at the time, and it was dark, and it was like my hours were horrible. So it was just like, okay, how else can I relieve stress? And one of my colleagues, she was smoking, so I was like, you know what, yeah, I'll come out with you on a break, and I'll try some. And it just like, I don't know, I fell in love with it. which is like so crazy to me. But I loved the like nicotine rushes it gave me, and I kind of felt like it also calmed my brain. And turns out nicotine does like help with ADHD. Because after like a month of like smoke, I wasn't like smoking, but I also was smoking, right? I would smoke here and there, and then the situation how happened that like the worse I felt at work, like the more stress happened, and obviously Christmas time wasn't a good time. I started getting my own packs, and I would go through a pack a day, not a day, a pack a week, sometimes even quicker, and it just like it was something like I skipped breaks because I would spend my breaks like smoking. I'd be like, oh, I'm not gonna eat, I'm just gonna, smoke and smoke. And obviously that didn't help with my eating disorders or like just eating in general.
Oh no,
But
yeah.
it just made me feel like, I don't know, like I was in control because I was like, oh. But then I also, the other end of the sword was if I felt stressed, I felt like I needed to smoke. But I remember telling my partner, because he used to smoke for years and like he's still addicted to nicotine and he's using the like pouches in his mouth, and he wants to quit, but he also can't really quit because of how like where we work. He knows that if he wants to quit, he has to go cold turkey, and then he's gonna be like irritable and not nice to be around. And I've been around him when he's having like slight cravings for it, and I'm like, I can't stand him. Well, not in that way, but it's like it feels like a different person in a way, and that is like kind of scary what addiction can do to you. And I remember I told him, I was like, don't worry about me, like, because he obviously didn't approve of me smoking, and none of my friends really were, even like the colleague that like technically got me onto it, but like I don't want to say that it was her fault, because at the end of the day it was my choice, and a lot of people were telling her like, oh, look what you've done, like you've ruined her, like, and I was like, no, but it was my choice, like I'm buying it for myself. I even smoke when she's not there, I started smoking before my shift, after my shift. If I used to treat myself, I was like, well, no, I need to make more steps today, so I'd go for a walk, have a ciggy, and I'll be like, that is my treat, which is messed up. But that was at the time what helped me to not do anything more harmful in a way, I suppose. But yeah, and I told my partner, I was like, don't worry about me, like I'm not addicted, like I'll be fine, like I can quit if I want to. And he was like, quit then. And I was like, but I don't want to. I was like, I'm not craving them, I just don't want to because I'm enjoying them. So, and he was like, you are addicted. And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, don't be silly. And then it got to January, and in January I was like, oh, new year, and you're starting to make these reflections and things. And I was like, well, I want to be a mother someday. Not anytime soon. It's not in the cards for me anytime soon. But I was like, I don't want to be a smoking mother, because obviously that is unhealthy. And I also was determined this year to make sure that I can maybe try to balance my hormones. So I stopped I got my implant out, and that's why I want to like start eating and like watching what I eat, and maybe improve my skin, because I'm still waiting for a dermatologist appointment for like a year later. So it's just like crazy to get any help. I feel like I'm just rambling and I keep forgetting what I'm trying to say. But yeah, so in January I decided, well, because it was a new year, I was like, okay, I'm gonna quit. And I remember it was so hard for me to be like, oh, I'm gonna quit. So I told myself I'm gonna quit in March, although February technically is next month. Why not February? But I was just like, no, I still want to smoke in February because I liked it, but I didn't think I was addicted.
Yeah.
And then in the end, during February, I was like, actually, I'm starting to get like the ick from the ciggies. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna quit. And I did quit, and I didn't find it hard. And 2 weeks passed, and I think it was the beginning of March, maybe late February, and my colleague fell at work from the ladder, broke her wrist, and it was just like so stressful that I was like, I need a ciggy. So I went on my lunch break, I bought a pack, and I had a pack. And I'm a person, if I like have a open bag of cookies, I need to finish it. So same happened with ciggies. I had ciggies. I couldn't just leave them and be like, oh, that's fine, that's me done with them. No, I had to finish the pack. So in my head, I told myself, okay, I'm gonna go on a holiday in a week. I have to finish them before my holiday and not touch them ever again. And I kind of did that, and the last day came, and I remember I was still kind of having the ick from the cigarettes, and I had 6 left, and I was like, well, I can't leave them for tomorrow. So I remember I had one in the morning, like I had 6 cigarettes that day, and it made me feel so sick. And I remember the last one,
Oh
I
my
was like, I
God.
have my last one, I need to like smoke it so I'm not tempted anymore. They're gone, you know, they don't exist to me. And I remember I went outside and I stood by my door and I tried smoking it, and I was like, this is not good, like this is awful. And yeah, and then I didn't smoke ever since. But then in March, I didn't find it that difficult. But I would be like, sometimes I'd smell like, you know, when people walk past you and like, oh, they're a smoker. I'd be like, oh, they smell good. You know, but I didn't find it.
Not
No,
addicted,
but
no.
I didn't think I was. And then April came, and in
Yeah.
April I was like, oh, this is the month where I'm gonna start making good habits. So I'm gonna go running. I'm gonna look at after what I eat. I'm gonna write poetry each day, and I'm not gonna smoke, because I was like, at least smoking part I'm already not doing. I can just tick it. You know, in my head I was like, that's gonna be the easiest one. Turns out I struggled with it the most, because each day I woke up, in my head I was like, you have to, you know, mentally I was like, you have to watch what you eat, you have to remember to write a poem, you have to remember that you want to go running, you know, you have to film something for the YouTube channel. So it was just like, oh, constantly in my head that like, oh, you can't smoke. So I thought about it every single day, and it was awful. And I remember I went up to my partner and I was like, I think you were right. I was like, I'm definitely addicted to nicotine. But
Yeah.
I still naively also think in my head that I'm not. But I know I am. You know, it's just very hard to like fully admit it to myself. And yeah, it's May now, and I kept telling people like, oh, when May comes, I'll find it easier because I won't be thinking about it each day. And honestly, I didn't think about it for a few days in May until my partner was like, oh, I'm craving nicotine. And I went, oh, it's May. I technically can smoke if I want to. And he told me he's surprised that I already don't have a packet. And I kind of told him, I was like, yeah, I'm too broke for that at the moment. But after payday, I know that
Yeah.
that could be like, you know, an issue that I suddenly have a pack. But I haven't actually been craving them in May. I know it's only like day 5. But still,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
so much easier. So I feel like in April, I kind of shot myself in the foot because I was thinking about it each day. But yeah, that is my story
Yeah.
about smoking and me. And
Yeah.
I don't know, like, if I pick it up again, I won't be that mad because, you know I'm gonna quit eventually, and I know that I'm not gonna be like my parents who smoke in front of children and, you know, all of that, hopefully. But I don't think I will be. I feel like people will keep me accountable. Like, I'm surrounded by good people around me, and yeah, but yeah, that is my story with smoking so far.
Yeah. Yeah. How a bad habit can
Yep.
develop. And then you don't think that you're addicted, but you end up being actually pretty dependent. Maybe not addicted, but dependent. I think that's the worst part. That's how I see cigarettes. Well, for me personally, I always thought like they're not really giving anything to you. Like that's how I thought. But clearly, nicotine is like a a
Yeah,
substance
yeah.
that gives you some sort of a feeling, or like calms most people, I guess, calms them down. And because you just keep smoking around the time you're stressed, later on, even if you weren't smoking, as soon as you get stressed, you kind of start craving it. I think it just kind of builds that connection quicker. Well, it sounds like you know what you're doing. Like it's like your thing to deal with or not
Yeah,
deal with.
yeah.
Like it depends, right? How you want to work with. But then again, I imagine it is harder if you notice that you are craving, or like you as soon as you smell it, you're almost like, oh yeah, it's kind of nice. It's probably harder to manage it. But I guess it is dependent on the willpower.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my bad habit right now, the scrolling. I want to say I was pretty good October, November, December, because I was keeping myself busy.
Honestly, download
Scrolling wise,
Tinder,
but
not
I think
Tinder, Kindle on your phone. I don't know why Tinder jumped out. Yeah, download Kindle, and they have some like also free books
Agreed.
there. So I feel like I
Yeah,
did start a new one recently because I'm trying to read Lord of the Rings, and it's just like so long, and I find it so difficult. But I think I find it difficult because I have a physical book. So to me, that takes more effort than reading it on Kindle, because I love The Hobbit and I read Hobbit on the Kindle. So now I'm like, once I get paid, I'm just going to purchase them all on my Kindle so I can read them that way, because I know at least then I will have read them. So recently, I realized that I have this issue with like doom scrolling, and it like makes me feel awful, like, because I just know, like, I'm like, oh, I've sat here for 2 hours doing nothing, nothing. So I was like,
And it just
yeah, the
passes
time
like
just
nothing.
goes, and
Yeah,
you're like, wow, I've just wasted my life. So that feeling is like awful. So I was like, I'm gonna just start reading. So I went on Kindle and I picked out a few of the free books, and I started reading one. And I did manage to read 2 chapters, so I read it like 1 chapter a night, then the next chapter a night. And I was like, you know what? I think I need to DNF this book. And it doesn't happen often, because like even if I'm finding a book like very like badly written or something that doesn't excite me, I'll be like, it's fine. I'll read it anyways, because it's, if I was scrolling, I wouldn't be taking in good content anyways, But that one, I just could not get along with, and I think I have to DNF it. So now I'm gonna start a new one, possibly this evening. And I'm kind of excited because I love starting books. My issue is finishing them. Because I have to get like really, really into them for me to be like obsessed with it. Because in the beginning of the book, I find it really hard to like dive into the world, because it just like I have too many questions, and then when you read the chapter and you go, wait, I haven't actually read it, and then you have to reread it. Like I hate when books do that. But yeah, Kindle. Try that.
Kindle, yeah. I think if it's, I think my problem is that I'd rather not have anything to do with the screen as well. It's like, it's not just the doom scrolling, it's the fact that I'm looking at another screen. I'm working the whole day looking at a screen, then I'm scrolling in between.
Yeah, but you can do it gradually.
And afterwards and in the morning, and then I'm also watching TV. Like, it's always a freaking screen, and I think, it's a tricky one. But yeah, you're right. I mean, reading the book, that's what I was doing for October, November, December, January. I would usually, in the evenings, I wouldn't scroll as much because I would be reading a book, like a physical one. Oh, that's like the whole thing. Like, I think I would enjoy reading on the screen, but I think there's something against, for me personally. I
was the same way, and then
just because I have screens everywhere.
But even if it helps you, like you could do it for a month, just like read ebooks for a month, and then you'll be in a habit of reading, and then you can swap back to physical ones. Because I used to love physical books as well. I just don't know what happened. Because I feel like it's harder to get into a good position that like you enjoy sitting in, then you have to make the lighting right, and it's just a bit of more effort.
It is a bit harder to hold. Sometimes like my this bit would start to hurt, or not hurt, but like you're just too tense because you're holding the book. Yeah, that is the thing. And well, another thing that did help me for a little bit, I was playing Words with Friends or whatever, like this online version with like different robots or something. I was playing that kind of, instead of me scrolling, I would be putting my mind to work. Recently did a little bit of Sudoku, but I haven't really touched it much. How did I end up? I think for me, I have attended, like, I feel like I want to do so much that I overwhelm myself with it. And instead of doing any of those things, I'm like, I'm just gonna procrastinate and scroll. So it's either me like avoiding like these feelings of, I don't know, I need to start some things to do things. Because like, I know I'm such a lazy person. Like, I am such a lazy person that I don't want to do things.
I think you are.
So I rather just scroll. But then I'm like, oh, I'm wasting my time. Yeah, wasting my life away with just scrolling. But I have noticed as well, after obviously everyone probably has noticed that after like hour or 2 hours you scrolling, you feel horrible because the types of content that comes up is so different and so much information that it's like, it's not good. It's not good. I do feel like it's also affecting my memory actually. It's not ideal.
What I want to say is, you're not a lazy person. I feel like nowadays, I don't know why, just a feeling, we're very run person, like everybody. Like we do so much and that we forget to like kind of take time to ourselves to relax. So maybe like, yeah, doom scrolling,
Yeah.
probably not the best idea how to like relax. But at least that way you do get like those few hours a day just for you to be like exist. Because sometimes I feel like, oh, I don't have time to exist, you know, because I have so much
Yeah.
to do. If it's your day off, oh, there's chores to do, or there's uni stuff to do, or like you
Yeah.
have to catch up with that friend or call that family member because you have to. So it's just like, give yourself some, you know, breathing room. Like you're not lazy, you just your body is just like, you know, I'm too tired of being on the go all the time.
Yeah. No, it is true. It is true. But I think, yeah, subconsciously it's been kind of like avoiding things, not to, yeah. Instead of feeling the pain of starting something new, or pushing myself, I'd rather, yeah, just scroll. But it's okay. It's okay. I'm trying my best. Oh, another bad habit that I have developed over, I don't know, past few years apparently, but especially bad it has become, I don't know, this past 6 months. Me picking my scalp and my hair and stuff. I don't know, just like scratching my head and touching my hair a lot, and I think that's kind of led me to the point where I feel like I'm losing a lot of hair, and it's freaking me out. So that's one thing I'm working on now, is being more conscious of not touching my hair and my scalp, because yeah, it's not good. And I don't know where it's coming from, but I've noticed now that I was, the past 4 days, my task is not to touch them, not to like scratch and that I do it more when I'm actually watching, for example, watching TV for some reason. I don't know why. I think that's probably where it started, that I was just kind of started touching my hair while I'm watching, and it's just kind of like a little thing. So I need to find things to keep in my hands. I think it's my hands
You
needing
need
to do
fidget,
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I kind of found that my head is the place, but like it's not good for my head. It's not good for my hair at all. Yeah, that's a little bad habit that I have. I'm trying, but I am more conscious now. Like I catch myself sooner than, like, I don't know, after 10 minutes of picking my hair, because like I would be literally, sometimes I would like actually be pulling a hair out. So that's not good. It's not good. Yeah, it is. I don't know what the exact causation is, but I am a fidgety person. I think I need to find my bracelets again. I was wearing these crystal rock bracelets, and those I would be touching, but they make noise, and I know people don't like the noise, so I guess hair ties might be.
You could also try
they're quieter,
cross
and I could
stitching
just...
or like knitting. I know that requires more
Yeah.
brain power.
Yeah, knitting would be like you need to look at it. It's more like, well, I'm doing some other bits, and I might be a bit of a stressed person as well. I don't know. Right now I didn't feel like I needed to do it. I don't know. Maybe even it makes me more stressed that I'm doing these things. I don't know. It's such a weird loop. Such a weird loop. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Interesting. Doom scrolling and yeah, running. The not going to bed on time. I think that's also kind of was slipping away from me. I was started to go to bed after 10:30, 11, 12, and then if I'm not going to bed on time, everything else just kind of crumbles as well. So it's very tricky. And my question, about the habits, one of the questions I had is, how were we before, or how was like life before, and I can start. I think I already mentioned parts of it, that for example, me waking up just 5-10 minutes before I have to leave the house, for example. That was probably very stressful. And I always, in using a lot of phone just before sleep, that was also a thing. I think I was just not very conscious of these things, and I would always feel like, oh, how are these people always waking up early? How are they managing to, I don't know, exercise every day? How are they doing these things? Like, I just don't want to do that. Like, not that I don't want to do them, I don't have the energy, maybe the motivation. I don't know. I was so lost, and I feel like right now, maybe because I have this informational bubble around me that are in a similar mindset, that are having some habits or like doing something more constantly, and it seems like everyone has it figured it out. But me, 3 years ago, I was such a mess. I had no intentional habits. I was like, well, I need sleep, I need to eat. Like, it was a mess. I don't know. I was like, it's like hard to explain, but it was like chaotic. I was not intentional about the things I was doing or how I was like waking up, but I was not loving whatever I was doing. I was definitely more anxious, more stressed, more not getting enough sleep, a lot more in this negative mindset probably. Almost no self-love. How I came upon this like habits was through this accountability group that one of my friends online was doing, and I was like, oh, that's good. I've always wanted to do some things. I don't know, like wake up early, for example. I think there were a couple of things I was trying to do with the group. But throughout the group, I was also trying to do this self-love part. Even though the idea was that I would develop this certain kind of habit, for me it was also kind of trying and feeling in myself what's best for me in that day. It was tricky though. It took a lot of effort, and I would feel a bit of a failure if I didn't do the habits I would say. But at least I was like, you know what? At least I listened to myself on some level. So yeah, I think the habit kind of brought self-love more up front as well. Everyone talks about self-love, you need to love yourself, blah blah blah. I think back then I was also talking about it in my therapy, and she was like, I'm very strict on myself. What was a new discovery was that I'm a perfectionist apparently, even though I didn't think I was. I still don't think I'm a perfectionist, just because I'm comparing myself to some other people and seeing how they act, and I'm like, well, they're definitely a perfectionist. If I was a perfectionist, I would be doing things. I'm similar to you, Ligii, with books, that you sometimes don't finish things, and I think that's why I don't think I'm a perfectionist, because quite often I don't finish things, or like I'm not that particular about certain details as some other people might be. And yeah, where am I going with this? Self-love habits brought me more closer with the self-love. I had this idea, concept in my head, oh, I need to be more loving towards myself, but what is more loving towards yourself? It was starting to give myself 8 hours of sleep, at least. Knowing that it's good for me, and like putting the effort to actually getting the time. And then it's just kind of moved on. Slowly but surely, after 3 accountability groups where I participated for someone else, after all 3 of them, I did do the habits throughout the 21 days. I kind of kept them up afterwards, but they weren't consistent. They weren't every day anyways. And at some point it just kind of slowly clicked that, you know what, you just have to keep trying. Worst part was that I would be doing a habit 3 days, and then one day I didn't do it, and I would be feeling bad about it, that I didn't do it. So you kind of like, well, might as well quit. But would you? Why would you quit because of this one day? I'm not sure if I lost Ligii or not. Oh yeah,
I'm still here.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Now the realization is coming to me. I think throughout these accountability groups, I learned not to be so hard on myself on the days when I didn't do it, and just grow my self-love and caring towards myself. Even though I was still wanting and was developing the habits, but I was just giving more grace to myself and realizing, you know what, it takes time. It just takes time, and you just have to keep trying. Yes, this one day it didn't work out, that's okay. Yes, maybe this week was horrible, it didn't work out, but that doesn't mean that you can't start again and again and again. And the whole idea within these accountability groups was this 1%, do 1% better than you did yesterday, or in general, like just do 1% better, and it works, guys. it works. I mean, 3 years later, I have like 3-4 habits a day that are like basically solid as a rock. And I know it's much easier for me to add more habits, for example, in the morning, because I already have some things that I do and I have this time. Yeah, I don't know. For me, it blew my mind. Back then, I was like, how do people do this? How do they wake up? How do they exercise every day? How do they read all these books or whatever? How do they not use phone all the time? And once I started doing it, it was difficult. But now it's like, it's such a second nature almost. But just like, I feel how crazy it is. Like, it seems like for everyone, it is easy. Not easy, but it's just like around me, it's like, it seems like no one has struggled with it for some reason. And I remember it being very difficult. But it might be just because the information I am having around me maybe is that people have already established their habits. But I remember struggling. I was like, this is difficult. How do you do this?
And it probably also comes from
yeah.
childhood, right? It like depends if you did that as a child. And I remember even as a kid, my sister, she could like wake up easily. You know, she'd wake up, she'd have breakfast, she'd get ready, and she'd be ready to go to school. And I was one of those kids. I would maybe wake up sometimes 10 minutes before the bus leaves. Sometimes I would wake up on time, and and I'd just be like, well, I'm not hungry because I'm not used to eating breakfast. So it just kind of, I never really had habits even as a kid. And I feel like maybe if my parents were a bit like more pushy about it, maybe it would be easier for me as an adult to still have them. But because when I was a kid, I was basically left to, do whatever, take care of yourself, I just didn't. And I feel like that's how it starts. So for some people, it might seem easier, but that's because maybe they just naturally did it as kids, or maybe their parents and family helped them build those habits. And plus I feel like people don't generally like talk about bad things that much. Like nobody's gonna go and be like, oh, I'm really struggling with waking up online, will they? They're just everything. Well, nowadays thankfully there's more like realistic approaches and realistic people, and not everything is like this happy perfect world. But still, it's not easy for everybody to open up online. Even we struggle.
Yeah,
we're not 100%
exactly.
honest.
Even
we're hiding like some things.
Yeah, and it depends on the day as well. Like today I feel relatively happy, content. But even now I think, working with your mindset, it takes some time. I think, that's another good habit to work. I don't know how, it's more like up in the air. You can't really put it down on paper unless you do like affirmations. But the mindset, yes, falling into the trap of going down the bad rabbit hole of feeling bad about yourself, and then not only you feel bad about yourself, you even beat yourself down even more. With your own words, but you also beat yourself down because you're like, why am I beating myself up? It's such a fight. Yeah, we need to be more gracious towards ourselves, I guess. Yeah, I realized, I think for some reason the past month or so, I realized that I've been quite ungrateful, I guess. But I do like gratitude practice. But something in my life, like I felt that I'm not fully grateful for, I guess. And that like kept me bringing like down again. I don't know. At this current state of mind, I'm feeling good and positive. But you're right, we're not telling the full truth, are we? Yeah, not everyone is sharing what they're doing. Crying on the walks.
Yeah, but it's just some things are just harder to be honest about, or like there's like this feeling of, I'm not ready yet to talk about this, and that is fine as well, because we're trying to be honest on this podcast, but it's hard to be honest, and it's hard to like fully put yourself out because you don't know what's gonna happen. Like you don't know what kind of backlash could also happen, and hopefully there isn't any. But then if you're feeling like very fragile about something, obviously you're not going to put yourself out to people who you don't even know, just in case, they attack you for it. And if you're not like feeling stable about that, how can you protect it or like defend yourself, but yeah, I don't know. There are perfect. I
think
yeah.
another.
No, it's okay. You go.
Oh, I think I lost my wait. Oh, I think I lost my thought.
All I wanted to say was that there are no perfect people. That's
parents.
it.
Oh, no, perfect. Oh yeah, now I remembered. I think the internet seems such a perfect place sometimes, but not always. Actually, there is a lot of negativity out there as well, and there are a lot of people who do show or try to show more realistic ways of what's happening. But on the other hand, it's almost like, do I want to put out this negativity? If I'm feeling so really, really negative and bad, it's like, do I want to put it out on other people almost, right? So that's why I think it's quite often it's like a bit more curated. It is a bit more positive because you want to make the world a bit more positive place.
I suppose we can look at it like two ways. Like, are we trying to make a positive impact by showing that we're positive people, or are we trying to put a positive impact by showing that we are real people, and real people do struggle. And at the end of the day, okay, if you don't like my content, yes, if you don't like my content, unfollow me, block me. It's not that deep. Like, yeah, exactly. Plus, if like my friend unfollows me, I'd be like, okay, I get it. I might be cringy. I might be like posting a lot more about myself these days, which is like crazy to me.
Well, that's good. It's such a self-development.
It is, and like I understand if somebody unfollows me or they go, oh, she's gone off the rails, or that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. If you start leaving nasty comments, I'll start like blocking you and removing them, because I don't need that in my life. I don't think it's that deep. Plus, like, I have nothing negative to leave under other people's comments, so like pictures or whatever. So I feel like if somebody does that, it's just like more reflects on them than onto me.
It is a problem.
Yeah. So I'm trying to look at it as I'm trying to be realistic. If you don't want to see a negative post that day, scroll past it. Plus,
true. Like, you have a choice.
Plus, I feel like we talk so much, like as a society, about good things, and forget the bad things. But the bad things are also very, very important. Like grief is one subject. Like, I find so difficult to find people who I can talk to about, like, my dead grandma, or like something like traumatic. And obviously, it's something that happened to me, and I need to talk about it sometimes. And we're not all like rainbows and sunshines. Like, there have to be like some stormy clouds, and I can't hold it into like, if we all were like honest and like realistic, I feel like we wouldn't need as much therapy either, because I wouldn't have to pay somebody to talk about all of these like negative emotions. I could just like be like, hey guys, I'm feeling a bit down today because of this, and we could open up discussions about that.
Yeah, I think because a lot of people don't know how to deal with their stuff, they might not be able to deal with other people's stuff, and it's like the communication isn't there. And you're right, that's the thing. The life shouldn't be just sunshine and rainbows, because it isn't. It never is. And why is that? I think we're always aspiring to. I think I saw a very brief snippet of Michelle Obama talking on a podcast, saying how we need to just realize that life is those moments in between the happy and sad moments as well. It is this mundane, boring bits, and those are the bits that we need to try and, I guess, enjoy slightly more, or just accept that it is the way it is, not chase constantly highs or lows. I think, I don't know why I started saying this. It's just, accepting that life isn't just sunshine and rainbows. life is actually boring.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's
okay if
okay.
it's boring. Like, honestly, like
Yeah.
sometimes, I
Yeah.
don't know. Well, I come from a very weird background, and I've if to say, like, I was depressed for basically my whole life, and then some one day I just woke up and something clicked, and things were different, and my mindset was different, and I just feel like genuinely a different person. Like, honestly, like, I look back at pictures of that time, and I'm like, that's not me. And I don't know why, because, like, technically the face is kind of the same, it's just weird. And I feel like that's where, like, also habits come in, because it was so hard for me in the beginning to accept the fact that, like, things are different, and it's okay for me not to be depressed anymore, because I was like, well, but I was depressed, like, that was all I had, and now I had to, like, kind of find a different way of who I was without me being depressed, with me being like, oh, I want to live. And I recently wrote, like, a poem, because I tried writing poems in April, but I found it very, very hard, because not always I had something to say. I know, weird for me not to have something to say, but it's just it's a different mindset when you're writing poems. And there was this one that I wrote about the mundane life. I was like, oh, it's just, like, so weird how now I can walk home after work and it's, like, sunny, and I just appreciate it sometimes more. Or, like, I appreciate the routine, or, like, if I'm having a bad day at work, I just go and I'm like, that's fine, because I know I'll get another shot tomorrow. It's just, the lows don't hit me as hard anymore, and the highs, yeah, sometimes they don't feel as high anymore, but it's just, like, it's just life. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to put it into words, but it's just, life is everything in between. Like, I don't want to live waiting for, like, a specific week and be like, oh, in October I'm going away, so I'm gonna just live. Yeah,
I'll be happy then,
no, I
yeah.
want to be happy now, so I'm, like, living now, and I'm experiencing this now. I think that is how my mindset has changed as well, which is, like, beautiful, and I'm, like, so grateful for it. And each day I wake up and, like, okay, sometimes I'll be a bit sad, and I'll be like, what is the point? Like, I want to be in 6 years time when I have my degree, when I can have my dream job, when I can achieve, like, high highs. But then I have to be like, patience. The beauty is also in the journey, so I'm just trying to, like, calm myself down and be like, just enjoy this, because you'll never have this time back. Like, I'll never be living by myself again, probably, in the future. Hopefully I have kids and, a partner, and, everything works out. So I have to just, like, take this in and be like, just be, just exist, just enjoy it. Stop, like, thinking about the future, or, like, worrying about that, because I'll take care of it, I always do. So I shouldn't, like, put more pressure about something that's never happened, something that I don't know if it will happen. And past, I should, like, finally dust it off and just leave it in the past. And yeah, it still affects me, and obviously it will, but I just feel like genuinely better person now that I'm trying to live in the now. I'd say, like, maybe not a better person, but I feel like I'm alive for the, like, first time in my life, and it's, like, taken me. It's only it feels like I started living when I turned, like, 23, honestly.
Yeah.
So maybe 24, like. So I feel like I've only been alive for, like, 2 years.
Very recently.
Yeah, so it's just, like, crazy to me. But, I got there, and I'm so glad I woke up one day and I was like, you know what? That's it. Like, I'm gonna live. And I'm alive. And it's amazing.
It is, yeah. No, this is, that's so good. I'm so glad that you are alive.
Thank you.
Is it and awake, alive and awake? It did, yeah. To be fair, if I'm thinking probably back those 3-4 years when I was just, I was doing things, I was aware, but there was something that wasn't, like, like, the sense that your life is your life. And that you can build your day, you can control it, you are the main character of your life.
Yeah, if you're not happy, pack up and leave, like, everything's in your hands. Yes, it's harder for some, easier for others, but still, like, just work with what you have. Stop comparing to them, because, like, they're living a completely different story, and that's okay. That is okay. You're living your own story, you're your own hero, and, make it a beautiful one. It's in your hands. You can do whatever. You're the writer. It's
Yes.
Lovely.
Yes. I think as we talked before on our separate calls that you are your own Prince Charming on a white
Yes.
horse. As much as sometimes you want it to be someone else or something else.
Yeah. You have to do it yourself.
At the end
Yeah.
of the
Put
day,
it out
it's
there
just-
at least, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what I want. This is what I'm
Yeah.
working towards, and things might
Yeah.
just fall into place for you. They might not, but that doesn't. Yeah, maybe you need to take a different path.
Maybe it wasn't
yeah,
for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, this was, I don't know. It feels like it wasn't fully like a habits episode. We talked about so many big
Yeah.
things. But I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy. Should we end it?
Probably. I think we've spoken for
Probably.
too long. Like always.
Yeah, again, it's gonna be difficult. I hope I'm not gonna struggle to edit this again. Yes. So we are doing the Good Habits Accountability Group in June. Me and Ligii will lead this. Organize a group, WhatsApp or Telegram or wherever.
Or Instagram. Oh, whatever. Yeah, we'll see what is easier.
Or Instagram. Yeah, we can do the Instagram.
Yeah.
There's like a community or something.
So we'll do that. So let us know if you're interested. We'll put more posts out about it as well. Also, if you want to join our running club, just to motivate each other to run,
Yes.
please join. Let us know, and we'll add you. And yeah, well, let's build our good habits together, and just keep each other accountable, and also give each other grace, because that's something we forget to do in life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for
Thank
listening.
you for watching.
And we hope to hope to see you soon. And yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.